Saturday night, and any of those girls who want to be the GOAT, all you gotta do is make a fight with me. Alicia Baumgardner, Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor. All you gotta do is make a fight with me. And then I can show you, you're not the GOAT.
This would be tantamount to Artur Beterbiev calling out Nick Ball at featherweight,
or Anthony Cacace at super featherweight,
Gervonta Davis at lightweight. What Clarissa Shields is doing here, calling out featherweights and super featherweights and lightweights.
Who does she expect to give her credit for calling out fighters that are so much smaller than she is?
For somebody who's supposed to be so much more accomplished than everybody else, you'd be hard-pressed to find someone so much more insecure than everybody else, that you need to call out fighters that are so much smaller than you are to make yourself feel better, seem better.
Did you hear that echo in the room?
There's barely anybody there. The entire fight week, I've noticed people that didn't even realize Clarissa Shields would be fighting this Saturday. So is this Clarissa trying to garner attention for her fight? Her upcoming fight with Vanessa Joannese that's supposed to be historic.
Oh, so the only way for her to get attention on her fight is to bring up fighters that are more popular than she is? Because everybody she mentioned is more popular than she is.
Has more paying customers, whether you're talking about Katie Taylor or Amanda Serrano or even Alicia Baumgardner. More likable and more gracious. In turn, more popular than Clarissa, who's massively abrasive,
yes,
annoying, loud.
The self-proclaimed greatest woman of all times for competing at a weight this weekend with a grand total of 21 fighters in it. 21.
That's it?
At heavyweight.
21 at light heavyweight. Clarissa Shields fancies herself the greatest woman of all time for competing in these barren weight classes where there are barely any girls to fight. The big fish in what is a small pond.
Small.
A very small pond. So when the biggest selling point of your fight is taking shots at fighters that are a lot more popular and marketable than you are, all that makes you is more enemies and more critics.
Because now the Katie Taylor fans ain't gonna like you, the Amanda Serrano fans ain't gonna like you, the Alicia Baumgardner fans, they're not gonna like you either.
American fighters and an American audience obsessed with being the heel in the effort to duplicate what Floyd Mayweather did in Floyd Mayweather's heyday. But when he was playing the heel, he was generating massive numbers, catering to a massive audience, and Clarissa Shields is not.
Just sound like a dumbass.
Sparking a vocal minority to go up to bat for Clarissa, rush to her defense whenever someone points out how tactless and stupid she sounds.
Frankly, the guys that go up to bat for her, the guys defending her online, I don't even think they watch her fights. I just think they're defending her for some other reason.
Like what?
Identity politics, tribalism.
Because for all of these guys rushing to Clarissa Shields' defense, whenever somebody points out how stupid she looks and how stupid she sounds doing this, how many of these guys do you think bought the Marie-Eve Dicaire pay-per-view? How many?
Couldn't have been many, because not that many people bought that fight.
And in a very general sense, not that many people are Clarissa Shields fans. If they were, Showtime wouldn't have dropped her all those years ago. Don't forget, that's where she got her start. She got her start on a major premium cable network. That was not enough to make her popular. That was not enough to make her liked.
And this rabble of mouthy idiots that so readily defends her online does not represent a big enough portion of the boxing community at large to make Clarissa Shields a draw, to make her popular. She's none of those things.
The perfect example, Netflix is putting up millions, and I mean millions, to do the Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano rematch. It's my understanding that both fighters stand to make in the neighborhood of 5 or 6 million.
You don't see anybody putting up money like that for Clarissa.
And you're not going to, because Clarissa is not as well liked and not as popular as Katie Taylor, not as popular as Amanda Serrano. Clarissa Shields,
I don't think she's as skilled as they are either.
Give a shit what she wants to call herself. You're campaigning at weights where there's barely anybody to fight, and the people that are there just ain't that good. So of course you're gonna look dominant. When you don't fight as often as these other fighters you like to name drop, you don't keep as busy a schedule as they do. You don't fight as often as they do. And when you do fight, it's not against fighters that are as good as they are.
You're just bigger.
That's the only thing you got on those girls that you mentioned, because you're not better than they are. You're just bigger.
Well, she's moving up to heavyweight this weekend.
Is she supposed to be the smaller fighter moving up? Is that what this is supposed to be? Because she looks heavier than the heavyweight.
Yeah.
This ain't David and Goliath.
These ain't those kind of optics, and that's why people don't really rally behind Clarissa.
No, outside of that vocal minority you find online, in the real world, in terms of viewing figures and ticket sales, where are these people?
Where?
You can endorse her stupidity online as much as you like. Unless it shows up in the numbers, it really doesn't matter. The people that matter, the people that pay, they're not behind her. Netflix ain't putting up the money for no Clarissa Shields fight that they're putting up for Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano. Clarissa doesn't have the sponsorships, the endorsements of an Amanda Serrano or the following of a Katie Taylor.
She's got is a bunch of bums arguing in her defense online that don't spend any goddamn money. You won't get far with people like that around you.
With a fan base like that,
Bums.
these low-quality humans trying to make Clarissa Shields out to be the hero in all of this for calling out fighters that are so much smaller than she is.
Over a nickname.
That is public domain and free for use to anyone. What Clarissa Shields claims is her brand that she built.
You got that from Muhammad Ali. All you did was add a W.
It needs to be said. Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano have better things to do than mince words with Clarissa Shields. Alicia Baumgardner, too. Just better things to do. They won't say it, but I will.
You're not the GWOAT.
You sound stupid. You sound damn stupid being as heavy as you are, calling out featherweights and lightweights. What the hell is wrong with you?
The boxing media won't call her out on it. They step on eggshells whenever this broad is around. I ain't gotta do that.
You sound damn stupid.
Dumb.
And you're just making yourself more enemies taking shots at those girls because every single one of those girls has more fans than you do. In men's junior middleweight news, current state of affairs involving unified junior middleweight champion Sebastian Fundora, whose promoter says Sebastian must wait to commit to a defense. Sebastian Fundora has no choice but to wait for the outcome of Terence Crawford's August 3rd junior middleweight title fight before he formally commits to making his first defense as a unified champion in the division. The fight is promoted to boxing scene on Thursday. Samson Lukowicz seeking to clarify. Social media reports that Fundora's discussed defense against former three-belt welterweight champion Errol Spence Jr. is postponed. Said two-belt title holder Fundora instead is merely waiting out an order by the WBO that he must fight Crawford next to be stripped of the title. Everyone's talking about Sunday and forgetting about Saturday, Lukowicz said of unbeaten three-division champion Crawford's pressing bout in LA against Israel Madrimov.
He's creating confusion. That's what he does. The night of the Tim Tszyu fight, after Sebastian won, the first thing he started talking about was a Spence fight.
Said they want to fight Errol Spence. In the days that followed, he said that Terence Crawford would have to wait because they want to fight Spence. That's what he said. Now this is what he's saying. Everybody's talking about Sunday and forgetting about Monday. So we wait to see what happens August 3rd, and then I will request the WBO to mandate the Crawford fight. If Crawford can't fight us by December, then the fight can't happen.
So wait, now he's pushing for the Crawford fight?
Crawford has spoken of his deep interest in next fighting formerly undisputed champion now, formerly undisputed super middleweight champion Canelo Alvarez after Madrimov. Fight Canelo or fight Fundora, but you need to make the choice after August 3rd, Lukowicz said. So we have to wait until August 3rd because Fundora is proud to be a unified champion, and anything can happen on August 3rd. Ask Mike Tyson or Tim Tszyu, whom Fundora upset this past March. Anything can happen in boxing. In an extended interview released Thursday with the Hall of Fame former two-division champion Andre Ward, All the Smoke Boxing, Crawford spoke of Fundora being met in the Las Vegas ring by Spence following the Tszyu upset. Crawford said politics and the sports business were quickly in play to direct Fundora towards Spence and not Crawford. And even though Crawford dominated Spence by 9th round TKO 1 year ago this week,
what Samson wanted, at least that night, was for Sebastian to fight Errol next, not Terence.
Politics play a big factor in boxing, Crawford told Ward. Fundora can't say I'm who he wants when originally he chose to fight Errol Spence to relinquish the WBO title. Before turning to Madrimov, Crawford said initially, I wanted to fight Fundora. He said he couldn't fight this year because of a broken nose suffered in the Tszyu victory. We had to go to the next best option, Israel. If you want to fight the best, you've got to fight Terence Crawford because Terence Crawford beat the guy you're saying you want to beat. You can say Spence makes more sense financial-wise. He may bring in more money fighting at AT&T Stadium outside Dallas, but Fundora doesn't even know that for a fact. He didn't have a meeting with us to say, "This is what I want." Following a WBO edict that made it clear Fundora would be stripped of his belt if he bypassed Terrence, promoter Samson Lukowicz said the decision was made to wait for the Crawford outcome. While doing so, Lukowicz was asked this week about the feasibility of making the Spence fight in the early fall if Crawford turned to Alvarez.
Samson can't make up his mind. The night of the fight, he said he wanted to make the Spence fight. Then he went from saying he wants to make the Spence fight to doing a Tim Tszyu rematch.
Remember that? They said they wanted to give Tim Tszyu his rematch. But then the doctors told Sebastian, well, Sebastian can't fight because he's got a busted nose.
Can't come back till after September.
That's what the story was. Now what the story is, Samson wants the Crawford fight. After August, he's going to push for the Crawford fight. You can never take Samson at his word. I don't actually put any of this on Sebastian Fundora. Sebastian seems like a good kid, but wherever Samson Lukowicz is around or involved, confusion is sure to follow.
Not exclusive to Sebastian Fundora, it's the same thing with David Benavidez. Yet another one of Samson Lukowicz's fighters.
Like the time he told everybody that they signed a contract to fight David Morrell just for David Benavidez himself to call that fake news and he's not fighting that guy.
Remember that?
Lukowicz said he doubts Spence is available because he has yet to align with a new trainer after parting ways with longtime cornerman Derek James. Spence and James are suing each other over James's contention that Spence shorted him on payments owed from the Crawford fight and other bouts. I have an offer for October, nothing in stone. A conversation to fight Spence, Lukowicz said. You don't need to be too smart to see Spence is not training. He has no trainer, and he's going to court because James is suing him. You think he's training? You think he can be ready? And we have this mandatory ordered, so we wait. If Crawford chooses to fight Canelo, he won't fight Fundora.
A fair assessment. Terrence Crawford has expressed an interest in moving up in weight to take on Canelo Alvarez, and we don't yet know if Canelo is on board for such a fight. If he is, then Terrence won't fight Sebastian Fundora.
So here's the skinny. Wherever Samson Lukowicz goes, confusion is sure to follow because he creates it. I wouldn't even put any of this on Sebastian Fundora because, like I said, he seems like a good kid on the straight and narrow. It's Samson that confuses everybody. So if you were so hell-bent on putting Sebastian in the ring with Spence immediately after the Tszyu fight, why are you now talking about Terrence Crawford? And it could be because he realizes Terrence is in bed with Turki Al-Sheikh. He is a Riyadh season ambassador, and you might actually get a bigger purse, a bigger guarantee fighting Terrence than you would fighting Errol. You don't even know if you're going to fight Errol because he doesn't have a trainer. These are less than ideal circumstances for such a fight for Errol Spence, over a year out from the ring, coming off a devastating loss, without a trainer, moving up to a new weight.
You don't know if he's going to make it.
Even if it is a more winnable fight than, say, a Terrence Crawford fight, it's a fight you don't know for sure that you're going to have or not.
Hence the confusion.
And what happens after the August fight, if Terrence wins, seems contingent upon whether or not Canelo Alvarez will face him. Will he be willing to face Terrence Crawford? Because if he isn't, then yeah, roll on the Fundora fight. Why not? Unify those titles. Crown the next undisputed junior middleweight champion.
That'd be enough reason for Terrence Crawford to stay there. Stay there a while longer at 154.
You fight Israel Madrimov in August. You close out the year with Sebastian Fundora. If you win, you've got 3 of the 4 major titles at this weight. You only need 1 more to complete the set to become a 3-time undisputed champion.
Incredible.
Elsewhere in the junior middleweight division, former undisputed champion Charlo posted to his Instagram stories, "Just know that I'm back at 154.
Really?
I felt, and still feel, that this fighter is all but done at junior middleweight. He can say what he wants on his Instagram stories.
Whatever.
The reality of it is you were last in action a year ago. It's been a year up there at 168. Thus, making 154 moving forward, it won't be easy for Jermell, who already spent a lot of time there, and he's in his early to mid-30s.
You put on an uninspiring performance against Canelo Alvarez, set out for a year afterwards, and effectively gave up all your bargaining power, all your leverage at 154. You don't have any alphabet titles anymore, not even the Ring magazine.
Now, if you want to hang on to your claim as this division's lineal champion, lineal status, because nobody beat you for it at 154, you can do that, but what's that worth at the negotiation table? What kind of bargaining power does that really give you?
Charlo is not so big a draw, so big a marquee fighter that he can return to 154 if he is trying to return to 154 and pull rank on everybody. No.
Sorry.
What kind of money does Jermell Charlo have behind him now at a time when the PBC is putting on less and less shows?
Less shows than they've ever put on in a single calendar year. You know, there was a point where the PBC was actually doing about 36 shows. 36 shows in a single calendar year. This year, they've only done 3, and we're 8 months into it. Practically 8.
3 shows after 8 months. It'll be 4 shows in September. 4 after 9.
So where does Jermell Charlo fit into the picture? Moreover, where does he fit into the picture of the junior middleweight division when new champions have already been crowned? Sebastian Fundora's got 2 belts. Bakram Murtazaliev, he's got 1. Israel Madrimov has the other.
So what does anybody need from you?
I suppose that Jermell could try to force his way into the picture in pursuit of a Terrence Crawford fight, because when you think about it, at 154 right now, Terrence is the guy who's worth the most money because Turki Al-Sheikh is behind him. So fighting Crawford now pays out more than it ever paid before. And Jermell, you know, he had a back and forth with Terrence. They've got some unfinished business, sort of. I suppose that's a fight that Jermell could pursue, but that's provided he actually gets back down to 154. And I'm not sure that he will.
When last we saw Jermell Charlo, he put on a very uninspiring performance against Canelo Alvarez, who he had been calling out for a number of years, just to get in there and hang on for dear life, try to survive. He'd be in a much better position than he's in right now if he would have tried a little harder, that even if you lose to Canelo, make a fight of it.
So long as you try your best and make a fight of it, you can lose with dignity. Jermell did anything but, so now you want to come back to 154 and do what? Start calling people out? You're better off going to 160 and calling out Carlos Adames, because the guys at 154, they don't need you.
You ain't got nothing, they won.
And just to stay active, just to stay busy, he may have to try and branch out, because the PBC ain't got but so many fight dates to go around.
You think he could maybe get a spot on Canelo Alvarez's undercard?
Maybe. That seems to be how the PBC, in tandem with Canelo Alvarez's fights, have been allotting the slots, using them to try and keep as many of their fighters active as they can, which really ain't that many.
There's only so many slots to go around.
But just like that, Jermell Charlo is back, or he's supposed to be back, though when he'll return to action has yet to be determined.